We could use this to transition into our next subject matter. Fallout Mania that's going on right now. In general, the Fallout TV show has seen critical acclaim and viewer acclaim. Everyone seems to like the show, with little exception. The little exception is people who just don't understand that not everything is woke just because it might have something that you don't seem mainstream acceptable. Like, for example, I'm not kidding you. There's people who are saying the Fallout TV show sucks because it's woke, because there's two couples in it that are interracial and there's a trans character. It's an 8-hour show. There's one trans character in the entire cast. And by the way, they're a supporting character that's played incredibly well, fits into the story, has no bearing on the story that they're trans at all. They just exist in the universe just like anyone else. So it's not a plot point. It doesn't matter. There's two couples that are interracial. Wait a minute. We have problems with interracial couples in 2024? We do? In what universe is there something wrong with that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it's because I grew up on the East Coast and now I'm on the West Coast, correct? But for me, to see people of different races like getting involved in romantic relationships is like a common thing. This is not like, oh, I've never seen this before. This is not a big deal. I don't even see why this would be a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense at all. To me, I'm just scratching my head. How does this affect the show or the quality of the show? These people are so obsessed with things that they're like, just because they exist, regardless of the fact that if they have a bearing on the show, affect the plot of the show in a negative way, which they don't, just because they exist on the show is an awful bad thing, and therefore the show is bad. That's just incredibly stupid. In my opinion, it's just a closed-minded thing to think that way. How could you think that because there's interracial couples and anything that it's bad? What does that say about you? Right? Where do you come from? You live in a place where only people of the same race can be romantically involved? What kind of a society are you living in? What kind of an isolated culture? It's kind of fucking weird. I'm sorry, it just is. I'm not saying that every single thing should be dictated to be a mix of cultures or whatever, right? But just because it's in the show doesn't mean that it's bad. It drives me nuts, these people, right? Anyway, outside of that very small group of people, everyone seems to like the show. Even those who are like the biggest fans of Fallout lore and are upset that the TV show either made mistakes with the lore or changed the lore. And I think that's really what it is. A lot of people are upset that certain things in the Fallout TV show aren't in line with the games. And now they're like, well, wait, Tod Howard is saying the TV show is canon. Does that mean it changes the lore of the games? Do you want to know the answer? Yes, it does mean that. It means that that's the lore they want to go with. Why? Because there's no fucking games out. The newest game that you can play of Fallout, right? To tie in with seeing the show and falling in love with this universe is like 7 years old. That's the newest one. So obviously they want to go with the lore of the show as the mainstream thing because we don't even know when we'll see another new Fallout game. What, another decade? So let the show be canon and then let the next games be in line with the show, right? I think that's what they're going for. And a lot of people are very upset about that because they were such adamant, staunch fans and scholars of the lore of the Fallout games and universe that to see that changed for a TV show, they're like, I can't believe it. You know, these people are like, these are the same people, all right, who 2 generations ago would go to the Star Trek and Star Wars conventions and line up to see William Shatner or Mark Hamill. And they would wait in line. And finally, when they get to see them, all right, they would have a giant folder and they would slam the folder down in front of the desk in front of them where the person was sitting and say, in episode 272, there was a line of dialogue that's not in line with the Prime Directive. Now, you got to explain to me what this means. And the actor would be sitting there like, it's a show, dude. It's a TV show. It's fun. It's meant to be something for entertainment. It's not real. It doesn't have to be. It never was designed to be. What is wrong with you? You're not supposed to obsess over it like that. Okay? and it goes back then, these people were dismissed as obsessive people. Today, it's like cool to be like that because now you can go on the internet and join an online community like that. And you could completely obsess over something that's just supposed to be a part of pop culture and not the whole obsession of your life where every little detail of the universe must be in line and make sense. There's going to be things that don't jive. There's going to be things that can't be explained or don't line up. No one cares that much about it, including the fucking showrunners. Do you really think Tod Howard cares that there's a date in the show on a chalkboard that's not in line with the dates of the games? Do you think he gives two flaming shits? He doesn't care. He cares about the money that's being printed right now because people like the show. Anyway, so all that being said, okay? All that being said, Fallout Mania is real. And absolutely everyone is going crazy right now for Fallout Mania. Everyone wants Fallout. In fact, Fallout 76 numbers on Steam typically gets around 16 to 18,000 players. Now has like over 40,000. So it's almost tripled in the amount of player base. Fallout 4, for the first time ever, had over 100,000 concurrent players on Steam. Okay? So there you go. And that's pretty crazy. To me, that this insane amount of popularity is now coming to Fallout. And isn't it ironic? Because this is probably, right now with this TV show, no exaggeration, probably the biggest mainstream appeal Fallout's ever had. More people now are understanding how cool Fallout is for the very first time. And there's literally nothing else to consume that's less than 7 years old. You want to talk about a mismanagement and a misstep? This is the direct definition of it. That Tod Howard completely mismanaged his studio to the point where now they can't even make a fucking video game. There's no Fallout games on the horizon. Shit, there's not even an Elder Scrolls game on the horizon. We have no information about the two biggest franchises from this studio. They're just lost in development hell. Meanwhile, Starfield came out last fall and it's an insane flop. No one likes it. No one talks about it. No one gives two fucks about it. So why, you got to ask this question. What were they thinking? Pushing a Fallout show, having it come out and be good, and now have absolutely nothing to offer anyone that's new. Nothing. Not a comic book, not a mobile game, not a mainstream video game, like nothing. We have nothing to offer you that's less than 7 years old. What kind of a strategy is that? It's moronic. And this is Tod Howard in charge. Do you really think Tod Howard knows what he's doing at this point? I don't. Much like Phil Spencer, much like all these guys who at one point people looked up to them as these big bastions of games and game development, and you know, they're doing an awful job. That's why we're 4 months into 2024. And can you say one game that's been the big game that everyone's been into this year? We're third into the year. And there hasn't been one single big game. They're all kind of meh. And then they just die out and fizzle out. Want to know the big game? Hell with Divers 2, which no one heard of till it came out and became virally popular. That's the big game. What happened to these companies? They used to be able to make consistently good games that would be high profile, AAA. Everyone would be talking about them. The entire game community would be into them. Now, none of that happens anymore. Right? This is ridiculous. When Fallout TV show comes out, there should be fucking Fallout content to consume to supplement that desire. Now, I got to go back and play Fallout 76, which is 7 years old, and it's an online MMO piece of shit. Or Fallout 4, which is 9 years old, and arguably people didn't like it as much as the previous two. Well, maybe I'll go back and play the 15, 16-year-old Fallout 3, which is the best of them all. But it's like, what a joke. Right? Really? What a joke. I don't know what they did here. Like, this is supposed to be, Tod Howard is supposed to fucking be the lead of the studio. I feel like he doesn't do anything anymore. Like, what the fuck is he really doing? He's lying about games and shit. He goes out and lies about Starfield constantly. The game comes out and the game is terrible and not in line with anything he promised, right? He says the Fallout TV show is canon, but then it contradicts the lore of the games 20 times. So then what's really true, right? Anyway, in my opinion, I'm happy that this is happening. I'm sad that Fallout Mania is basically creating kind of a chaotic situation where no one really knows what to consume. You know, at least when the Witcher TV show came out, there was one piece of content to consume, Witcher 3, right? When the Halo TV show came out, as bad as it was, people went and played Halo Infinite, right? Now, you go and play, what am I going to play? A shitty MMO or a not as shitty, but not as good as the previous game that's already almost a decade old? Like, what do I play? Right? So, anyway, that being said, I like Fallout and I cannot wait. And I hope that you guys would want to see Fallout 4. I'm down for that. You know, early May, that's what you guys want to do, is play some Fallout 4 and balance that with Elden Ring, balance that with other games and multiplayer games. That sounds like a plan. Okay. So I hope that you guys will join me for that. And if not, well, then I would like to know what it is that you would like to see.